Hey guys, and welcome to another Night with Phee right here on the Phee Network. Hope you guys have had a great day. It's been a little cold. Fall is setting in right now in Arkansas. This hurricane is just crushed Jamaica, headed for the East Coast, and we got lots of things to talk about and some questions also. So hit that share button, enjoy yourself, like us, leave and love us if you'd like to, but make sure you tell somebody about the Phee Network as we continue to stay ahead of the curve in everything that's going on right now that should concern you and your future. These questions keep rolling in. Tonight we have a different types of questions, and I certainly appreciate that. You guys just keep hitting me up with faceme.com. The questionnaire there. The website, we try to keep up a little, a couple hours a day as we're trying to move on to a different domain with some different servers. So we're moving right along, but thank you guys for tuning in tonight to the Feast Me Network. Had a great day today, had basketball practice with my students tonight. I had one missing. She had her senior pictures, so she was unable to attend, but a lot of energy and a lot of effort tonight as they continue to move just closer and closer to game time. I've got two students that have 3 scrimmages this week, and I have 2 other students that are having what they call red-white games. That's inter-squad scrimmages before their season starts. So we're knocking at the door. We're right in the middle of football season. Again, Fee's crushing it. Not handicapping this year as far as playing, but just continue to shake my head at how my bank account would be a little different right now. So anyway, you ought to tune into Fee's Sports Ball with Sir Isaac the Guru on Thursday night at 6 o'clock. We have a Feast Me show with Manly Mark. Going to start doing that at 8 a.m. on a daily basis. And then Manly will come back with his Midday Madness here shortly, at least a couple of times a week. So we're going to continue to increase our programming as we continue to increase all of the things that we have to do to make this operation go. So thank you guys for tuning in tonight, and I hope you'll go back and watch all of our podcasts and shows if you didn't catch them live. Tonight we're going to talk about something that's pretty strange to Phee, but it's time to wake up. Everybody is playing both sides. You know, a penny is two-faced and isn't worth a lot. But you'll find throughout history that spies, agents, double agents, traitors, even Jesus had 1 out of 12. So deception tends to run with people that you trust, people that you love, people that you spend enough time with that you get comfortable with, that you think that you can trust them and they're telling you the truth. But sometimes you get fooled, and sometimes you just act like that you're being fooled. So remember, people are playing both sides of the fence. They're playing both teams, and there's traitors everywhere. And tonight we're going to look at 2 different situations. One, I think anybody out there would say that Iran is the largest state sponsor of terrorism. Their proxies include Hezbollah and the Houthis, all the way Hamas. There's about 5 of them, and then they're in different countries. And then they have what they would call an Arab brotherhood that doesn't. They might be 3 from this one and 4 from this one and 8 from this one. And so you're dealing with a lot of folks. But Iran, from the time that children are born, they're taught to hate America. America is the big Satan. Israel is the small Satan. They're taught their culture, the environment that people are raised in. Not all Iranians, but the people in charge, the Republican Guard, and the propaganda that surrounds them. So nobody would have a problem thinking that Iran is an enemy of the United States. But on the other hand, there's a country called Qatar. And Qatar is the largest funder of terrorist groups in the world. A country that has less than 400,000 people with 2 million slaves. They just take their visa and make them work for them. Do you know that Qatar gave $200 billion to Americans' news medias and groups, educational groups? You see this, all of this chaos you saw at Columbia University and the Ivy League schools, funded by, and some by George Soros and the eBay founder from India. But underneath all of that, $200 billion to change the culture of America. They don't stop there. They're sweet and kind and loving. They gave $2.5 billion to the Hurricane Relief Fund in Florida. $2.5 billion. You know, Saudi Arabia or the UAE kicked in, I think Saudi Arabia kicked in $1.5 billion just to help those hurricane victims in Florida. I wonder, is there a huge Muslim community, Islamic community down in Florida that I'm unaware of? So I asked myself, why? Why would they give that kind of money? Of course, so Fee's paying attention now. So he didn't pay attention for a long time. He spent his time studying and playing and having a great time with things he loved, whether it was sports, gambling, or whether it's handicapping, whether it was working or making money. I just did everything that I could win at. I made business. It was winning and losing. I made relationships, winning and losing. I like to win. If you give me the rules of the game, I can strategize, and I'm capable to put together a game plan and to compete, and a lot of times win. But when people give money, they're looking for influence. I don't know why else you would think Hunter Biden would receive tens of millions of dollars from the Chinese when he has no expertise in the businesses that they were talking about giving the money for. But a weather balloon that traveled across the United States of America 2 years and 3 months ago might have been the reason. Because China, they own a whole lot of our farmland. They're involved in a whole lot of our meat processing and our food processing plants. Strange. Why? Well, Qatar also has given $1.5 billion to Jared Kushner's Affinity investment firm. Oh, you give Phee $1.5 billion, and I think my investment firm would be doing all right too. Of course, the UAE gave Mr. Kushner's firm $200 million, and he's over there negotiating ceasefires and peace plans for the United States. You know, even the United States has said that Qatar needs to have some NATO power, and that if anybody attacks Qatar, it would be as if they are attacking the United States. Wow. Find out they're not building a military base in the United States like was first reported, but they are building a building on our existing military base. Wow. One is the largest funder of terrorism in the world. Less than 400,000 people control 14% of the world's natural gas. Iran, they hate us. We know it. We know what they're trying to do. They are the largest sponsor of terrorism with their proxies. But the largest funder is our friend. They help people in our country. Do you know that one of the biggest, most growing news outlets in our country that's taking viewers and viewership away from Fox is a company called Newsmax? It's amazing if you look and see how much foreign investment Newsmax has received from Qatar. Wow. I mean, that's just good business, isn't it? Just unbelievably good business. I mean, we're focusing all our time and energy on Iran and Qatar. They're our buddies. They're our pals. It reminds me of the Chinese back in the 80s when they started giving all of these grants and all these funding fellowships to all these Ivy League schools, the smartest, most brilliant American young people at the finest educational schools in the world, supposedly. And so they just decided they would fund a bunch of our educational technologies. Why? Because they wanted access to the findings. Now, that's been shut down for, 3 years now? But it went on for 14. It takes them that long to figure out that the people that are giving the money actually want the information. So when I tell you to watch out, that everybody is playing all sides, I mean everybody. It's can I do? What can I get out of it? What influence? Because money, folks, to these people, it's like pennies. They're two-faced and they're not worth a lot. Why are we in Venezuela? Why all of a sudden go after drug cartels? Those are questions that I would have never asked myself before my vision on June the 24th, 2023. I used to love studying information that I like to know about, whether it was stocks or I like to play the commodities, the futures. I like to gamble, and everyone gambles in their life. But I need to know the rules of the game. And most importantly, I need to know who's on my side. Because if I throw the ball to first base and he misses it on purpose and I don't know it, that's on me. And our country, both good and bad, and our president, good and bad, he's anointed for this time. And all of this deception is already known by my Lord. You're not fooling him whatsoever. So no matter why you're giving the money or what influence you think you have, the bottom line is when it's all said and done, the United States of America wins. We stand with Israel to the end, the nation of Israel. It's amazing that Israel gets dogged by the world. It's amazing that Israel's own people, so many different types of Jews, and most of them, like the Pharisees and the Sadducees, just from the synagogue of Satan. But they were controlling 80% of the Gaza Strip. Maybe 2 weeks later, maybe 2 months later, they'd have controlled it all. Now, in my vision, I saw October 7th. I saw them cross that border. 2,500 people dead. Babies mutilated. Heads cut off. That's from Hamas. But it takes them 7 hours to get there. I mean, the country's the size of New Jersey. It's difficult when you can't determine who is telling the truth, because deception is everywhere. And I don't think we need a private citizen that is the son-in-law of our president negotiating ceasefires and peace plans with the same folks that have given him $1.5 billion. I mean, I got Manly Mark here upset with a senator in the state of Arkansas for investing in a military contractor, defense company, because he thinks we're going to war. It's amazing to me. $200 billion to change the culture of America? They just take their money, folks. They need the money. Can you imagine the type of influence that you can buy with $200 billion? Deception is everywhere, no matter what side you're on. So the best thing for you to do is pray and ask the Lord for guidance and direction as we continue to go through this path of uncertainty, chaos, and absolute death for this world and this country. Fee's going to be here. We're going to rock and roll with it. We're going to have a good time doing it. We're going to have a good attitude, rocking and rolling and nickeling and diming. But you have to pay attention at some point of what's going on when you're just not paying attention to what's going on around you. Because deception is everywhere, and you better watch out. Because the same folks you think are on your side won't be when the game comes down to the end. That's what I didn't like about this gambling probes. I understand Manly Mark. He doesn't care about sports. He thinks it's a silly that people worship or spend all their time watching, grown men get paid millions of dollars to play a kid's sport. I get that. I always loved sports, and I never idolized the players. I didn't care what they did off the field. I was a player. I like their athletic ability. I can admire when someone has athletic ability or is a good player. I can look at a man and see if he's good looking. It doesn't bother me to tell him, hey, man, you're a good looking dude. Just like it doesn't bother me to tell a young lady she's a beautiful young lady. That's my personality. I'm not insecure, and I'm certainly not homophobic. The bottom line is I just want to know who's on my side. And Feast Me is going to be right here with the Feast Me Network and Night as we continue to increase the programming, and we're going to continue to stay ahead of the curve, because if anybody knows what's going on, Phee knows, because I've had a vision from my Lord. But the details of what's going on, and I just don't like paying that much attention. I spent over 5 hours today researching this stuff that 2.5 years ago I would have had no interest whatsoever doing. I'd spend 5 days figuring out what I was going to do this weekend, or what stock I was going to buy, or putting together a business plan that would create investment opportunities. But 5 hours of studying on just absolute nonsense to me that is not nonsense. It's life. It's real. And we've got to do something to wake up, folks. Because before long, it's checkmate. And when it's checkmate, it's over. So like I've said, I'd rather be 1 year late. 1 year early than 1 second late. So we've got to pay attention. Thank you for tuning in to Night with Phee. These questions are rolling in, and we will go to them right now. I can assure you that I will upset some folks today even reading them. Phee, what are your thoughts about friends with benefits, polygamy, and swinging? Patty from Oklahoma. Well, Patty, from a Christian standpoint, all of those would be in the adultery and fornication area. So from that standpoint, sin is sin, and I don't recommend it. From a coaching standpoint, We can go through all of these one at a time. I did a deep dive into pornography and AI and the dark web. None of these things were on that. These are pretty common and have been around for a long time. There's not anything new about that. It's just the changing of our culture. I think what really bothers me is looking at now that when the Bible says that love will grow cold, that it's no longer about intimacy and romance. It's more just of a kink, and there's nothing you're going to find that everybody has different kinks, but your friends with benefits from merely a coaching standpoint, I just always got a kick out of it. They were always the most insecure men that had 3 or 4 girlfriends. They couldn't get a date. They were always trying to look for a moment where she was on the rebound or they had been drinking, and then he would try to slip in the side door. It's a consent deal. I mean, there's, you can understand that, they're in their 20s or 30s and they live out of town, they fly in and they go here, and instead of going out and meeting, trying to hook up with someone new, they already know the people and it's just convenient for them, and they've come to the consent of, hey, we're just going to have sex when we're together, and then you date who you want to and I'll date who I want to, and move on. So, but from a purely coaching standpoint, I just think that's a weak man. I never had to in my day. I never played that game. As the young ladies knew when I walked in the room that I wasn't trying to be their friend. If I was flirting with them and having a good time, trying to entertain them, that wasn't entering my mind. But it is a big deal, and has been. I think another Hollywood movie came out maybe 15 years ago, and it had I'm not going to be able to tell you his name, but he Mark said he texted me and his other folks. So anyway, about these friends with benefits, look, I never have understood it, but if it's a consensual deal for people, and that's the way they want to look at things, very few Christians now are going to admit that they have that type of sin in their life, but especially with the polygamy. And the polygamy, that's a cultural shift. I mean, mostly kings had lots and lots of wives and lots of concubines. I can remember telling people when I was a teenager, you want to be one of my 700 wives or one of my 1,300 concubines, and would laugh and move on. But that's a cultural shift. Now the Mormons, have done that for several, I think, hundreds of years. But the legalistic standpoint of a democracy or having laws against that, that's more of a legalistic Christian standpoint. But in a lot of cultures, in American Indian cultures, the chief would have as many folks he wanted. In the king's culture, he'd have as many as he wanted. Again, Catherine the Great, she didn't stop at men. She just went all to the stallions, from every man in her kingdom to the Shetland ponies to finally the stallions ended up getting her. But I think you'll find that the marrying multiple wives also, again, been made popular through Hollywood and through a lot of these shows now. That's a different type of situation. You've got one man and 4 or 5 women, and they're all living together. I don't know if the women are bisexual. I don't know if that's part of the kink, but that's been around a long time too. Now, your swingers, that was big in the 70s. I got a kick out of the upside-down pineapple symbol and what that meant. I wasn't aware of that in the 70s whatsoever, so I don't know if that is new or it's 10 years old or it's 5 years old or what. But swingers have been around for a long time too. Most of the time, if you have a man and a wife, then they're married and they want an addition or add-on, whether it be a male or a female, and they've got names for them: bulls for men and unicorns for women. Those things have been going a long, long time. Here's my problem with it from a coaching standpoint, trying to leave the Christianity standpoint or the godliness out of it. What happens afterwards? You're having a real good time, and then it's over. What's the conversation on the way home? When you lay your head on that pillow at night, what's going through your mind then? Are you opening up all kinds of portals, all kinds of doors for what you're not sharing with your partner? Is it a permissive play? Do you need permission because you know that the other partner has a history of cheating, or you know that that's the only way that you can satisfy the partner is by having multiple partners? From a psychological standpoint, I don't think it's beneficial long term. Now, I've known couples that are swingers, and it seemed to work out fine for a short period of time. Now, I don't know if you'd have a large percentage of swingers that would be married for 30 or 40 or 50 years, but maybe there is a group of folks out there that have been, and it's purely exciting and new, and it's more than just sex to some folks. It's a culture. It's being in the group. So again, what do I think about it from now that I'm trying to be a more of a godly man and with a mission and a vision that my Lord's given me? The only reason that I'm alive, I would tell you, it's sin, and it's not going to work out well. Sin always seems to do real good at first. It's a lot of fun, and then when it's over, you figure out how did you get in that trap, and there's always consequences for it. So it might not be any time in this season, but it'll definitely be in the seasons to come. So now from a Christian or a teacher and a coaching standpoint, it's just not wise to get involved in any of those things. You have a sacred covenant that you just doesn't mean anything to people anymore, and hadn't because of the culture that you live in. It's being married today is like asking somebody to be your boyfriend or girlfriend back in the 70s and 80s. That's just about as much commitment as they have. It's we're going to do this till something else comes along, or until we don't want to do it anymore. And so you're finding that through Hollywood, through movies, through cultural shifts over a period of time, that this is being more mainstream, and that's what it is. And people won't like that. They'll say, no, that's not mainstream. It's happening a lot more than you would think. And it's happening in areas with people that are involved in churches and that are, hold positions in churches. So it's just not immune to, I told y'all, you guys, that over 56% of professing Christian couples watch porn at least twice a month, and that 76% of those say it's beneficial to their marriage. So you're living in a culture now where you swap partners. You have friends that if you don't want to go out and find a dude that you're interested in or a girl that you're interested in, you just hook up with. You got the Netflix and chill. That's the culture that these young people are living in. They don't know how to flirt. They don't know how to date. They're on dating apps. They're on, just behind computers or phones. So it's a much, much bigger problem than just, hey, man, let's just go out and have a good time tonight and don't worry about tomorrow, because those things just tend to not work out. So I hope you guys, I'm sure if you ask the question about swinging and about polygamy and about the friends with benefits, that you're either involved or have been involved in those type of situations, and maybe they've worked out well for you, Patty. But as a coach, I don't recommend it. It's like, splitting 20 in blackjack. It might work out. You might hit 2 aces in a row, or they might bust. But it just doesn't work out for everybody else on the table from that point on, because you mess up the cards. And the bottom line is you only get a certain amount of shoes that the probability is on your side. So when you split 20 and make it into two tens, even if you win, I'm leaving. So even if you're involved in these cultures, then that's your choice. You've got mutual consent. You don't need my opinion. But Phee, he's out on that type stuff. So I do appreciate the question, Patty, and I hope I've answered it to your satisfaction. Next question. Phee, I liked your tips for men that are clueless. So here's one from a woman. Do men know when we are seducing them during conversations? Elaine in Texas. Elaine, 90% of the men won't know that you're seducing them, period. They are just so insecure and naive that you basically have to be real blatantly obvious that you like them or that you're coming on to them. And when you do that, they just think you're easy because you had to do that for them to even know. So women have a difficult time dealing with men. And men, they gave up a long time ago trying to figure out women. So men mostly, if they're insecure about something or they don't like something, they don't want to be a part of it. They don't want to think about it. They just kind of slide it under the rug. But women can seduce you all day long without saying a word, and men just won't catch it. Now, the other 10% of the men, they'll definitely catch it. They understand your body language. They understand that women seduce with their eyes. They can go all the way down to the feet and all the way back up real slowly, lick their lips, blink their eyes, and do a little sly grin and don't have to say a word. And the folks that are players, the folks that have some reps, the folks that know what they're doing, even though they might not act like they know it and they just keep on going, they know. But the other 90%, they miss clues all the time. And they certainly aren't going to be able to know if you smile at them. They'll think, did you see her smile at me? She said she liked my shoes. And, that's where their mind is. That's why 90% of them are through before they even get the clothes off. And so that's very beneficial to the other 10 that people would call players and that are, high-valued men that people can actually communicate with, and they can talk about relationships and sex without getting all freaky. People that can hold silence, people that can hold that eye contact, people that can, when she leans in and she pulls back and she gives you some playful banter and teasing, all those things are part of the game that men need more help and coaching with. You turn on, you get this dadgum scrolling on this phone now. You've got more relationship coaches that it's just, I promise you, 90% of it's AI. Every dadgum medical term there is, just scrolling. I'm sure people are making plenty of money doing it, and Phee needs to find out how to get into that business more and more, because a lot of these advices these people are giving, they don't make a lot of sense to Phee. And there's different strokes for different folks. But most men need to do a better job of realizing, not making women make it look so obvious to them. Because once they make it obvious, once you have to do so much to get his attention for him to say, oh, she really wants to, then he thinks, well, why would she want to do that now? What? I mean, men, their mind, the psychological standpoint, the warfare that's going on in their minds while they're trying to communicate and have a conversation with the opposite sex, it needs a lot of practice. And I used to do it when I was in junior high and high school. I always had guys talking to me about boyfriends and girlfriends, and who should they ask to the dance, and what about homecoming. And you get the same answer if you don't ask than if you do. And they say no. So always ask. And if a woman is looking at you and she's gazing a little longer than normally, and she's looking up and down, and she's complimenting your shoes, or she's complimenting your outfit, she's trying to get your attention and let you know that she's interested. But by the time most men figure that out, the woman's already through with it, realizes he doesn't have any emotional intelligence whatsoever, and doesn't think he's worth her time. So she moves on. And then he wonders why. So I do appreciate the question. I'm glad you liked my tips for men. But your question from a woman is, do men know when we are seducing them during conversations? And sadly, 90% of that is no. You got to look at the body language. You got to look at the eyes. And if she lowers her voice, if she becomes more seductive, if she tilts her body to you, if she's pointing towards you with her feet and her hips, if she's touching her collarbone, rubbing the inside of her arms, all kinds of things that women do that they know what they're doing, but they're looking for men that actually know that they know what they're doing. And that's about 10% of them out there. So, yeah, the other 90%, watch the Phee Network and send in some questions. And I do appreciate that question, Elaine from Texas. Next question here. Phee, when you said the government shutdown would last until the ones in charge accomplished what they wanted, you didn't say what it was they wanted. So what do they want? LMAO in Arkansas. I thought I said they wanted to create chaos, but I might not have, and I don't. I try to watch some of the shows at once. I don't watch them enough, but I don't have time to watch them enough unless I'm traveling. Then I listen to those the podcasts or the shows instead of the radio. But normally, these government shutdowns end up being with emergency meetings, compromises, 24 hours, 48 hours. So why did Phee tell you that this time would be different? And that's because it didn't make sense to me. And I'm paying attention now. It didn't make sense to me that the Democrats had already signed 3 extensions with the same exact language as this extension would have been. 2 under Biden and 1 under Trump. So why didn't they sign it this time? I think that's a red flag. Why have they stopped the federal government from going back to work 13 times now, including a vote again today? 13 times. So what is the answer, Phee? Creating chaos. They're creating chaos. You're fixing to get into the food stamps didn't get issued. The welfare didn't get issued. The government checks and the government agencies. So what are they going to plan on doing? I figure they got a lot of folks trying to help them. They're going to organize them. They're going to protest. They're going to loot. They're going to hit the streets. Their government won't pay them. And that's what they're trying to do. They're creating chaos. And what really, really concerns me is the air traffic controllers. You know, I told you folks for several months now, and other folks for years, we had to pay our National Guard, we had to pay our military, we had to pay our police, we've got to pay our first responders. We need to be doubling and tripling the training for those, because what I've seen is going to happen with the civil wars, civil unrest, terrorist attacks, cyber attacks inside our country. And our president stands up in Japan and says, we're going to give every military personnel a raise, and we're going to make sure you get paid during this. I'm like, thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate it because I know that's coming. We're going to pay them all, just like I told you they would. But they're not going to pay the folks that the air traffic controllers. That 60% of flights now are delayed. Folks are calling in sick. And it just creates an environment, folks, for catastrophes in the air during the holiday season. Now, who do you think they'll blame for that? The Democrats will blame the Republicans. The Republicans will blame the Democrats. And there will be Americans dead. In reality, they could have had this government shut down, open in 24 to 48 hours. But this time, Phee told you it would be different. And I'm telling you the reason now. Money. 25% of the New Testament of Matthew, Mark, and Luke about money. 18% of the whole New Testament, Matthew through Revelations, 1 in 6 verses, money. Why? You just see what kind of influence you get, what kind of power you get, what kind of control you get in this age. In this age, where deception is everywhere and you have no idea what's going on because you're being told so many different things by so many different people. And if it doesn't affect your life today, and you got a whole lot of other things that are. So, you're going to have some cyber attacks, some terrorist attacks, and a lot of these folks are going to call it accidents. Are they going to say that it's, a lack of personnel? Are they just going to shut down the skies? What do you guys think? You think they ought to go back to work? It would be just as easy as extending the same exact extension they had done 3 previous times. So why do they say no? Deception, chaos, confusion, civil war, civil unrest, cyber attacks, terrorist attacks. They're coming from the United States of America, and they're coming from within. And after they cause all that and create all that chaos with all that division, which is already here, with 15 million homeless coming to get what they want. And now, folks, on government subsidies, not getting any money, not getting paid. And folks that are controlling the planes in the air, let's not pay them either. Amazing. Phee retires from 37 to 57, 20 years, comes back out, and the world has lost its mind. Prophecies being fulfilled every day. Please read the basic instructions before leaving Earth. You will not be deceived, and stay tuned to the Phee Network, because he's just going to keep staying ahead of the curve and let you guys know where the deception is, because it's everywhere and people are playing both sides. Thank you for the question. I do appreciate it. Laughing my A off in Arkansas. Next question. Phee, do you ever get any real news from your 3 TVs that you have set up in one room? Fake news and false flags are happening every day. Robert in North Carolina. Robert, I'm beginning to wonder if I am or not. My Lord sent me Mark, and he opened my eyes, because this is what he's been doing for 10 years, studying things that nobody cares anything about, knowledge about stuff that no one else is interested in, until it's going to affect their lives, and then they'll all be interested in it. It's like I told you guys a couple of weeks ago. It's like all these extremists and all these folks that have been putting up food for the last 30 years. Talking about all these things that are supposed to happen. I used to laugh at them. Survivalist. Now they're going to be looking real smart. I guess if you just do anything long enough, ask Noah, and people laughing at you 120 years, then they're clawing at the boat. Well, these survivalists have got all this food and their rice and beans put up and their dadgum ammunition and their guns. They're going to look real smart. They looked real dumb for 30 years. Now they're going to look real smart. See? So you got to adapt. If you're going to play in this world, you better adapt. Because fake news is everywhere. And paid and bought for by the advertisers and foreign entities investing. Shell corporations. Yeah, I mean, you follow the money. I used to tell them, follow the money, follow the money, follow the money, all the time. In my late teens and early 20s and 30s, all you got to do is follow the money. You'll know the truth if you follow the money. They're not fooling me with the forensic accounting, especially if they're going to have to disclose it. But goodness gracious. I mean, World War II, do you think I was aware in World War II that they sent all of the shipping and the waterway traffic opposite of Hawaii that day? That Hawaii had asked not once, not twice, but 3 times for the decoder that was in Washington and been turned down all 3 times in order to get us in that war. You would have owned anything I had, folks. Anything I had. I wouldn't have believed it. But it's, you just go look at the documents. After 50 years, they just let you look at anything. And nobody cares anymore. So you've got from evangelical pastors to corrupt judges to government agencies to your local grocery store chains just deceiving you. And all the news that you get is by design. It's to where you can't believe anything and then you seem silly. See, that's what I would have said. If I was listening to me now, 3 years ago, I'd have said, that dude, he doesn't know what to think. He doesn't know what to believe. Well, you'd be wrong, because I do know what to think and I do know what to believe. I've seen it. But it's hard to explain it to a lot of folks that are living in it. They can't see the forest because of the trees. And it's by design. That's what really concerns me. It's by design. So, you want to go back to JFK? I didn't have any idea JFK was trying to get into the Israeli nuclear facilities to be able to inspect them. We wanted our inspectors to go over and check on the nuclear facilities. Well, he's dead within 2 months. I had no idea that we were in Vietnam 8 years before we actually said we were there, and they gave us no chance to win. Folks, first time ever that America felt like a loser, and all these people came back to baby killers and spitting. People just turning on other people, just like this COVID shot. Good people believe in one thing, good people believe in another. Fighting, chaos, creating. All that was a test market, folks. I'm convinced now that the COVID was just, let's see how many of these folks we can actually see if they'll just follow the herd and take the shot. Let's tell them they'll lose their jobs. Let's not tell them they can't go to school. You got 15 million people already dead because of the vaccine, and there's no repercussions. We got to do this right now, and we really got to make a decision now. And you've got the vaccine, and we won't hold you liable if anything happens. They had the vaccine before the dadgum COVID virus. I mean, really? The moon landing? I watched it as a first or second grader in the hallway. Now it's you look at it and there's no stars in the sky, there's no atmosphere, so you got the flag blowing all in one direction with the shadows. I didn't need to know that. See? I didn't need to know about remote viewing or weather manipulation back then. Now, I have to understand all of it. So, false flags everywhere. I think about 9/11. 9/11 changed mine and my kids' lives. And my Lord's given me another opportunity. And He's shown me I'm going to get all that back plus some. But 17 of the 21 bombers were from Saudi Arabia. And we attacked Iraq. I said then, what are we doing attacking Iraq? Well, there's an Arab brotherhood. It doesn't matter what country that you're in. It's not on the terrorist list from our government. But the man who shook my president's hand in Syria, he had a $10 million bounty on his head. Our government was trying to kill him. $10 million. Now, we going over there and visiting him, shaking his hand for a photo op. Let him trim his beard, put on a suit. Number 4 on the world's terrorist list. The leader of Syria. Okay. Fake news. Yeah, I got 3 TVs. I watch MSNBC. I watch CNN. I watch Fox. I watch the sports. I watch Newsmax. And I'm spending a whole lot of time learning, spending, and reading about a lot of different, in a lot of different areas that I just didn't have any desire to know about because it didn't affect my life. But yeah, if 9/11, and they're proving it now, you got this Tucker Carlson doing a series on it, just showing that it was just by design. Man, had no idea. No idea. No idea. AI been around since 1987. They've been calling it your something software. But it's been around a while too. As far as what purpose, what purpose? It's deception. Deception. It's controlling information and entertainment is what it is. It's to control, is to manipulate. To manipulate is to mentally condition. And that's what they've done. And whether you want to call them Luciferians, or whether you want to call them secret societies, or whether you want to call them the elitists of the world, and all of these dadgum things that I just could have cared less about and wouldn't have believed. Blood rituals, 2,000 kids a day. 2,000 kids a day missing. Doesn't seem to bother anybody. Had a girl in the state of Arkansas, 22 years old, missing. Doesn't bother anybody, I guess. It's just, well, like Mark says, desensitized to everything. Well, folks, I have a real desire to help and to coach, and I'm capable of doing so. And so, yes, the fake news is out there. Yes, the false flags are out there. And yes, it's hard to believe anything from anybody. I get it. Because deception is everywhere and they're playing both sides. So I would tell you that you've got to go to the Word of God. And you've got to have a pure heart and no resentment in your life. And ask and pray earnestly for guidance and direction. And let people be brought to this network where we can get this message out and help as many people as we can in as short amount of time as we have, whether that's 2 days, 2 weeks, or 2 years. One thing about this visions, that whether it's Daniel or John or Zechariah or whatever, you don't know the dimension of time when it comes to how long these things are going to be between unless they show you. And so I'm telling you, it's coming. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And deception is everywhere from all people and all sides. So there is a cornerstone that you can start building a foundation of faith on. And it's my Lord Jesus Christ. He is the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through him. And my Lord Yahweh sent his Son to die on a cross for all past, present, and future sins for you, if you're a child of God. For many are called, few are chosen. So I hope I answered your question there as far as the fake news and false flags. I'm beginning to wonder myself if it's worth my time, but I have to do it in order to stay up and pay attention to the deception that is all around me. Folks, playing both sides is easy when you have money. I know very wealthy people that throw $100 bills away like they're dollar bills. And I know people that have enough money to where they make thousands of dollars a minute. Every minute of every day. While they're up or while they're sleeping. You want to influence and control people? Give them some money. Because that's what's going on in this world today. You pay people money, you invest money with them, you have control, you have influence. But you've got one country, the largest sponsor of terrorism, that you see coming. You know they're your enemy. They hate you and you don't like them. Then you've got another country that seems to just be playing a political game of deception, paid for by 2 million slaves for 400,000 people? How do less than 400,000 people control 14% of the natural gas in the world? How do they give billions, I said billions of dollars to America and for investment in America? I would say they're doing so to control and influence America. So would you rather know your enemy? Or would you rather think he's a friend until it's too late? Deception's everywhere, folks. And they're playing both sides. So the only team that you can make sure you're a winner is my Lord Jesus Christ team, because he wins. And the United States of America win in the end. I do appreciate you guys tuning in to Night with Phee. Remember, no matter what you're doing, you're missing something. So let's make what we're doing worth what we're missing. Night.